The film opens with Commander Brodie Torrance, Gerard Stewart, in Singapore, calling his girl Daniela, Hallie Hecking, as he plans to get back in Honolulu to invest energy with her for the occasion. Brodie, a previous RAF pilot, is flying Pioneer Carrier's Flight 119, and he shows up to meet his co-pilot, Samuel Delay, Yosin An, who illuminates Brodie that they will fly through a tempest. Bonnie, Daniela Pineda, the Central Airlines steward, illuminates Brodie that he is expected to meet a RCMP official, Otis Winston. The official illuminates Brodie that they are shipping a blamed executioner, previous French unfamiliar army fighter named Louis Gaspard, Mike Coulter. As the flight prepares for departure, we see different visitors, like youthful virtual entertainment powerhouses and a pompous money manager. While in the air, Brodie and Dell talk, with Brodie referencing how his better half had spent years sooner. As they disregard the South China Ocean, the plane experiences weighty disturbance when it goes through the tempest. The tempest deteriorates, prompting the plane enduring harm, and Brodie harms his head in the upheaval. The RCMP official leaves his seat, is tossed about, and passes on. An attendant passes on her seat to help him, and is likewise killed in the choppiness. Brodie and Dell need to oversee control without comms and radar, carrying it to a more secure equilibrium. Understanding the harms are excessively weighty, they need to make a crisis arrival. The pilots track down an island and make an unpleasant landing. When everything settles, Brodie has the travelers escape the plane. He and Dell learn they are on Jolo Island in the Philippines. In New York City at Pioneer's HQ, the directorate is met by their emergency supervisor, Scarsdale, Tony Goldwyn, to attempt to find the plane and travelers. Brodie attempts to fend Lewis off and tied down from different travelers because of his savage history. Brodie works with Dell and Bonnie to keep the travelers quiet and to figure out how to call for help. Dell tells Brodie that Jolo is worked by vicious separatists, meaning they risk seriously jeopardizing everybody the more they are there. The revolutionaries, drove by Datu Junmar, Evan Dane Taylor, find out about the plane's accident arrival and desire to acquire from the travelers. In the interim, Brodie goes with Lewis into the woods to figure out how to contact for help. Back in New York City, Scarsdale and the board survey Brodie's set of experiences document, highlighting a video of an occurrence where Brodie held a forceful traveler in a chuck hole until he dropped after the man punched Brodie when he attempted to quiet down a squabble. They learn of Brodie's calls to Pioneer and his little girl and can recognize the plane's area. Scarsdale sends a confidential hired fighter group to save the team and travelers, since he is aware of the danger on the island, and the Philippine government is reluctant to help. In Honolulu, Daniela's auntie educates her regarding the news that her dad's plane went down. Brodie and Lewis arrive at a pinnacle where Brodie figures out how to contact a specialist from Pioneers who doesn't accept him since she guarantees they have been getting loads of wrench brings over the failing to catch plane. Brodie then, at that point, calls Daniela and endeavors to tell her their area before he is gone after by a revolutionary. Brodie battles the man until he can kill him. Upon additional examination of the structure, Brodie and Lewis see that the dissidents utilize the region to torment and tape their casualties for recover cash. The two rush back to the plane, however, find that Yunmar and his hooligans have proactively made it there. A Korean lady endeavors to escape, just for one of the dissidents to shoot her. Her better half is then fiercely beheaded. The dissidents continue to take every other person prisoner, while Brodie and Lewis stow away. When the radicals leave, the two quell an excess dissident and discover that Junmar is taking everybody to a close by town. Brodie and Lewis resolve to follow and safeguard everybody. As the two head out to the town, Junmar begins driving the prisoners to express their names and home nations for their payoff video. The hired fighter group, drove by a man named Shellback, Remy Adeleki, shows up on the island. However, they find no one close to the plane, just the collections of the RCMP official and the attendant, alongside a message from Brodie. Brody and Lewis come to the town and kill a few additional revolutionaries prior to finding and liberating the prisoners. Everybody gets boarded onto a transport, while Brody offers himself to the renegades, expecting to allow the travelers an opportunity to get away. Junmar and his men beat him and plan to execute him, yet the hired fighter group shows up and starts shooting at the dissidents. With Lewis's and the hired soldiers' assistance, Brody and the travelers escape. After the battle, Junmar tracks down his sibling among the dead, driving his objective against the others to turn out to be more private. The travelers and team return to the plane, while Louis and the soldiers of fortune fend off the dissidents, who have followed them. Back at Pioneers HQ, Pioneers Chief Terry Hampton, Paul Ben Victor, requests that the plane stay where it is, dreading the ramifications for Pioneer assuming the harmed plane detonates in mid-air. Yet Scarsdale disregards him and advises Brody to get the plane airborne before they're completely killed by the revolutionaries. Lewis, who has found the payment cache brought by the Soldier of Fortune group, decides to stay on the island since he has no future returning. With the greater part of the main rush of renegades dead, Brody and Dell try to get the plane going. Junmar endeavors to fire a RPG at the plane, yet Brody lifts it sufficiently high in the air that he kills Junmar by crushing into him with the plane's wheels. The plane is seriously harmed, however they head towards a close-by island, Siasi, with an airstrip. With only one motor left and restricted control, Brody, with Dell's help, can land securely. Everybody at HQ cheers. After everybody is securely deboarded, Brody plunks down on the means of the plane and calls Daniela to tell her he is protected and returning home.